theyeshiva.net.
So we begin today a new Mimer on this week's Parsha Mishpatim, page 156, or Ayin Ches, column 4, Tiye Meshakela. This Mimer was said by the Baal HaTanya on Shabbos Parshas Mishpatim, Mevarchim HaChodesh Adar, Shabbos before Rish Chodesh Adar, which was Parshas Mishpatim, of the year Tov Kuf Nun Zayin. Tov Kuf Nun Zayin would be 1797. I may have mentioned once that it's known that with the Mimer of the Baal HaTanya, what they call Far Peterburg and Nach Peterburg, before Petersburg and after Petersburg, which was an expression before he was arrested and liberated on Yutas Kislev. 2 years later, Tov Kuf Nun Tes, which was in Petersburg, the capital. And the Maimarim after Peterburg were a completely different style. Most of the Maimarim, especially the longer ones, are from after Peterburg, after Tov Kuf Nun Tes, which means the end of Tov Kuf Nun Tes is 1799, and then the early 1800s, until his Istalkus in Tov Kuf Ayin Gimel 1812. This Mimer is a Mimer which would be called Far Peterburg, which is before Yutas Kislev, and one can usually see in the style the difference. Just mentioning that, so this is from Tov Kuf Nun Zayin.
What's the major difference?
It says that in after Peterburg, the Oir came into more Kalim, more Harchava, more explanation, more pratim, more details, more with Hasbara. Before it was more, so to speak, intense, fiery. Even the expressions and so forth. Huh? Allemaal hoige zach and the shaila is wifel kelim, yeah. So this is a Mimer on towards the end of Parshas Mishpatim. There's a very interesting pasuk. This is in Shishi of Mishpatim, in chapter 23, pasuk Chavav, Shmois Chav Gimel, pasuk Chavav. So just the context. Moshe speaking to the Jewish Hashem. Hashem tells Moshe that he's sending a malach to watch him and to prepare the place where they're going to go. They shouldn't bow down to other idols. And then he says, the previous pasuk, you should serve your God, and he will bless. He'll bless your food and your water. And I will remove illness from your midst. Then he says, Meshakela. There will be no Meshakela. Meshakela is translated usually as a bereaved woman. A woman who experiences miscarriages. Meshakela, meaning she loses her children after there's a pregnancy, but she loses the child, God forbid. That's called a Meshakela. Akara is, of course, barren. Somebody who's an Akara, infertile. So it says, Leisiya Meshakela v'Akara Bartzacha. There will be no bereaved or barren woman in your land. Asmispar Yamecha Amale. I will fill the number of your days. Okay, then he goes off to discuss the awe that the people in Eretz Yisrael will have when the Jewish people come, etc. This is towards the end of Mishpat. As we'll see later, he doesn't start off here with questions, but as we'll see later, the diyukim that he explains, you can understand some of the issues. One of them is, just the basic one, is the word Bartzecha. Leisiya Meshakela v'Akara. The focus is not so much in your land. It sounds like it's about your land. The focus is on the people. There won't be a Meshakela, there won't be an Akara. But he emphasizes it's like only Bartzecha in the land. The point, the Jewish people are going to go into the land. But why is that focus? That's not connected with the land, it's connected with the people. It's a promise that there won't be a bereaved woman, there won't be an infertile woman. But he emphasizes Davke Bartzecha. Hine Maida Zois. It's known Ki yesh l'mayla b'chines eretz hachayim, shemimenu nishba chayim u'mazon l'klolus neshamas Yisrael. L'avas Hashem, lasas kol mitzvosav asher yasa oisam ha'adam v'chay b'hem, chayim amitim. Dugmas eretz halazua tachtoina hagashmis, shematzmachas kol minei megadim, lahachyes behem nefesh kol chay, chayim gashma. It's just like we have on the physical plane. There's something called the earth, eretz. And this eretz, our earth, what he calls it, hatachtoina, the lower earth, the physical earth, is responsible for producing all types of megadim, meaning all types of delicacies. It doesn't only mean delicacies in terms of sweet foods, that too, sweet fruits and so forth, but all types of good foods to give life to every single soul alive, every single living organism. Its physical life comes from that which is produced by the earth. Yeah. And as he continues, Vizulasa ein kiyum v'chiyus l'chol adarim Allah. Without this eretz, without earth, there's no existence, there can't be existence or vitality, chiyus, life, to anyone who lives, who inhabits the earth. There's not a living organism on the earth that would be able to survive. One can have all the assets, hoin, wealth, and affluence of gold and silver, the most expensive metals, but if there's no produce from the earth, chas v'shalom, then our planet, no living organism can survive. This is what we live from. Even if a person is not eating directly vegetables or fruits or seeds or legumes, a person is eating meat, for example, right? But the animal is eating it. There's just the food, what's called the food chain, the food web. You must have the earth. So he says this is a reflection of Lamaila, something called Eretz HaChaim. There's another earth. It's called the earth of life, Eretz HaChaim. From there comes also life and food. There's the physical earth from where all life and food comes from. All food comes, which gives life. There's also the spiritual earth, Eretz HaChaim. That's how he starts, from where also there's life and food for neshamas, for all the collective souls and individual souls. What type of food does it give them? Physical earth gives the physical nutrients. But there's another earth, a spiritual earth, Eretz Lamaila, Eretz HaChaim, which gives them the food to be able to experience what he says, love of Hashem, do all of his mitzvahs, which a person does, v'chaybem, and he lives through them, chayim amitim, an authentic life. Interesting expression. An authentic life, a real life, similar to the physical earth. V'kach kol chayis ruchini animshach la'adam l'tayra la'avoda, ha'koil hu'ayidei eretz ha'chayim ha'alyoyno, k'mo shekosov, as halach lifnei Hashem ba'artzois ha'chayim. Just as is with the physical earth, all spiritual nutrition, all the chiyos, all the nutrients, the vitamins, the herbs, spirituals, which come to a person, to be able to give him Torah and Avodah, which is Chayim Amitim, authentic life, it all comes through the earth, through Eretz HaChayim Elyoina, through the higher earth of life. That's what the Pasuk means in Tehillim, in Hallel. I will walk before God in the lands, in the earths of life. He says in parentheses, it says ba'artzois, hainu ki yesh eretz ilav eretz tata, hainu knesses Yisrael de le'elu, knesses Yisrael de l'sata, ki gam l'mayli yesh b'chinas knesses Yisrael, ki Yisrael ola b'machshava. In Eretz itself, there's a higher Eretz. In this spiritual Eretz, there's a higher one and a lower one. Knesset Yisrael exists on a higher plane, a lower plane. Even Lamaila, in other words, pre the descent into this world, there's something called Knesset Yisrael. Yisrael come from Machshava, the Medrash says in Bereishis Rabbah. V'nikra b'shem Eretz. This source is called Eretz. Why is it called Eretz? I understand down here it's called Eretz. That's the name of it. Eretz is earth. Why is it called Eretz over there? Just like this physical earth. much of its vegetation doesn't just come independently on its own. Elamin hazriya, there often has to be, one plants, v'koyach hatzemeach, asher nitten ba. There's something in the earth that has what's called a koyach hatzemeach, a vegetative power. You could put your seed in a bowl of gold, nothing's going to happen to it, even though gold is more expensive. It's in the soil, it's in the earth that the Rebbeinu Shalom created the entire reality, the entire potentiality for growth. It's only through her, through the earth, from her and through her, mimena, from her and through her, that all the seeds that one plants can produce what it produces, which, as usually, we take it for granted, but we should never take this process for granted. What the earth knows, how it figures it out. You put in a seed, and somehow, right, sometime later, it's like it's producing whatever it's producing, whether it's vegetables, whether it's grain, whether it's legumes, seeds, fruit trees, etc., packaged in the way it's packaged, perfect for the human palate or for the animal palate or whatever living organism is eating off it, the nutrients that a person needs to live, even colorful, appealing, beautifully designed, the right colors, and so forth. And of course, the earth figures this out together with the seed, exactly how to get all of its nutrients, how to convert sunlight into glucose, how to be able to have the roots expand exactly where there'll be enough water, so it should be able to get its own soul, its own chiyus, and then does what it has to do. This is the miracle of the koyach hatzemeach that exists in the earth with the co-partner of the human who is planting the seeds.
Today we know it's not necessarily the case, right?
Germinate. Yeah?
That doesn't matter. What I'm saying is it's not necessarily the soil. It's able to be human-made.
Yeah, but we're replicating that.
It's sort of, not necessarily. It's not the replication. It's actually completely different.
But you need the minerals, no?
Still come from the earth.
You still need from the earth the minerals. Even in the artificial thing, you still need. No, I'm saying, but even the minerals, but the minerals come from there. You need something connected to the offering. So he says, so this is a mashal. So kach hachayim haruchnim. The same is true the spiritual life. Hanem shachim v'nishbayim eretz hachayim, which come and flow from eretz hachayim, from the earth we calling life. Heim nimshachim mimakar v'chaye hachayim baruch hu. It comes from the source, from the life of life. Hashem, ki hu ha-Nosson koyach ba'aretz lo heitzit simcha. He gives the koyach in the earth to produce the tzemach. In other words, there's a koyach hatzemeach, just like physically, Hashem put into the earth. And when I plant, when I toil, I toil the earth, I plow and I plant, it grows. The same is true in the eretz that we're talking about, the eretz Eliot, that there's a koyach. It all comes from the source of Chaye HaChaim, the life of life, who gives the koyach in this aretz to be able to produce and give the life that it gives. There's a pasuk in Bereshis. The pasuk says in the story of creation, Toitze ha'aretz nefesh chaya. Yeah, right in the beginning of the creation, when it comes to the last days, comes to Friday. So he says, Toitze ha'aretz nefesh chaya lemina, behema v'remes v'chayse eretz lemina. Hashem said, let the earth produce a living soul according to its species. Every animal, every mammal, remes, every insect, chayse eretz, all the beasts of the earth, everything according to its species. Vayihi chen, and this is what was. A fascinating thing. The grandson of the Balatanya, he has this Mimer with footnotes. He says, how do you understand this? Toitze ha'aretz nefesh chaya lemina. From earth came out a living soul, a living soul. Later it says by a person that Vayitzer Hashem Elokim, Hashem created the body offer, and then he blew in a soul. But with all the animals, that's not the case. It's Toitze ha'aretz nefesh chaya. So from earth, from soil, eretz, from eretz, comes out a living nefesh, a nefesh chaya lemina, behemis v'remes v'chayis eretz lemina. But when you say, he says, what he's saying in this Mimer is that everything in the physical is a mirror of the spiritual. So Tiye Aretz Nefesh Chaya Lemina, there's the Eretz Lamata, and then there's Eretz HaChaim, yeah, which is a spiritual reality of Eretz that produced a nefesh, that produces chiyus, and every single living organism, yeah, is a different manifestation. Every species a different manifestation of that Eretz. But just like earth here, one must toil, one must plow, and one must plant. Yes, the earth has the gift of koyach hatzemeach, but I have to plow to make the earth fertile, and I have to plant. Spiritually, this is what the pasuk means. We say in Tehillim, Friday night in the Mizmorim before L'chadaydi. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Oir zarua latzadik uli yishrei leiv simcha. What's Oir zarua latzadik? Oir is light. Zarua is planted. Latzadik for the tzaddik. Who's the tzaddik? So he says, Kiva amech kulam tzadikim ksef. When it says a tzaddik, it refers to every person. Pasuk says in Yeshaya, v'amich kulam tzadikim, your entire nation, all of them are tzadikim. And he says, v'eino yishoim ha'toyar, dahainu madregas tzadik hamitish in his Bible makamach. Yeah, there is the level of a tzaddik, an authentic tzaddik, explained elsewhere, probably means the Tanya, where he discusses what's the true definition of the tzaddik versus the Beinani, versus the Rasha. He says, we're not talking about that. An Adam kosher means an erlich yid, a fine person, somebody who's not wicked. That's what we mean here. You could say tzaddik is the specific definition of what a tzaddik is, which is very lofty and it's not the potential of every person. Even if you work very hard, you have to have a certain type of soul. But here we're talking about the tzaddik, v'amich kulam tzaddikim, a good person, a person who lives his life, tries to live his or her life in a proper way, in a righteous way. Tzaddik has the word righteous, tzedakah, in a charitable, just way, tzedek. The Gemara tells us that the Gemara says in Nida that when a fetus is being born, when an embryo is being developed, so the Malach asks Hashem, should he be strong? Should this fetus be weak? It's genetic composition, it's chemistry. IQ, brain power, a chachem, a tipish, a gibor, a chalosh, an entrepreneur, a schlepper. He goes through everything. The Gemara says, tzaddik v'rasha lo kama. One thing is not discussed. It's going to be a good person, a tzaddik or not. That's hakal b'dei shamayim chutz me'yir shamayim. Like some learned in brachas recently. This is a concept that it's not negeya. A person's different capacities that people have, and I can't change the color of my eyes or my height or certain aspects about my makeup, many aspects. But tzaddik v'rasha, how a person is going to live, like Amar, this was not given as a verdict before birth. This is the tzaddik we're talking about. The real ultimate tzaddik, over there it's already different. Eliot says, Barasa tzaddikim, you created tzaddikim, Barasa rishayim. That's a unique potential of a tzaddik on a different level, somebody who could completely transform a Yetzer Hara. But we're not talking about the regular, a fine person. What's the Oir Zarua Latzadik? It says, V'ha'oir, the oir, the light, the avas Hashem, which Shekosei love Yisbarach Hanimshach La'adam. Hinei hu zarua be'eretz hachayim l'tzadik. The light is love, and the desire to Hashem that's communicated, that's given to a person, this is planted. Why do you say planted? Light is not planted. Seeds are planted. But now we understand. This is zarua be'eretz hachayim. There's the physical earth, and then there's Tiye ha'aretz, the spiritual earth, which is also the source of what? Of a different type of chiyus, of spiritual life. Chaim amitim. That's the light of Avos Hashem and the desire to Hashem that a person has, meaning the desire for truth, the yearning for truth, the love for truth. Godliness is truth. The Gemara says, this is planted in Eretz Chaim l'Tzadik. Who's the Tzadik? Every person. Pirush, liyos Tzadik, u'mekusher b'Hashem l'davka. The light of Avos Hashem and the Chukah is planted in the Eretz Chaim in order to be given to the Tzadik, v'amich kulam tzadikim, he should be able, or she should be able to be connected to Hashem in a dveikus, in an intimacy, in a oneness. This a person ought to place on his heart and to know with full trust and to believe with complete faith 3 things. He has to put this in his heart and know this fully and believe this with Emunah Shleima. Ki kol ava v'yira hanimshachim elav hu matas alikim. That all the love, any experience of ava and yira, any experience of love and awe, which is the oir zarua, is matas alikim. Matas alikim means a gift, like matana, matas. It's given from Hashem. Shenoisen koyach hatzemeach be'eretz elyon. He's the one who imbues the higher earth, the spiritual earth, with the koyach hatzemeach, with the vegetative koyach. Just like the physical earth, the pasuk says, "Vayomer Elikim tache haaretz desha." He imbued in the earth through the entire scientific process the ability to be able to do what it does in terms of produce. In the Eretz Elyon, he also imbued the koyach hatzemeach lahatzmiach avos Hashem v'yirasei al panav, to be able to produce, to grow in the human soul. Oir zarua latzadik, in the human soul. Ava and Yira, which is nutrition. This is the nutrients. It's the real Chaim Amitim. It's authentic life. And just like in the earth, if I plant and first plow and plant, it'll grow. If I don't plant and plow, it won't. If I don't plow and plant, it may not grow. Sometimes things will grow on their own. But if you want an organized, systemized fashion and certain produce, you'd have to plant. But it's not my planting that does the miracle. My planting, I have to work with the climate. I have to work with the rain. I have to work with the soil. I have to work with sunlight. I have to work with the environment. I can't decide I'm going to put a plant on the table and it's going to grow, because it's the aretz. So therefore, the same is true spiritually. A person plows, a person plants, but where does it grow? It's not growing because I used a shovel or because I put in a couple of seeds. It's growing because of the unique koyach of koyach hatzemeach, which Hashem put into the eretz. Yeah. There's an expression in the Gemara says that in Shabbos that v'hoya emuna sitecha seder zroyim. What's the connection of seder zroyim to emuna? So Tosfos brings from Yerushalmi, shemamin b'chei ha'elamim v'zeireya. A Jew plants, he believes in chei ha'elamim, and he plants. Maimin b'chei ha'elamim v'zeireya. No, you have to have emuna to do zriya. People who are atheists also plant. Shamamin, he believes b'chei ha'elamim, in the life of the world, meaning in the Rebbeinu Shalom. Chei ha'elam. So Tosfos says over there, Shemaimin, Shabbos Lamed Aleph, believes in nature. Yeah. So instead, he understands what nature is. You know, the Maimin b'chei ha'elam, he understands it's not stam. It's a random thing. There's a life force. There's a divine energy here. So yeah, I have to do my part, but there's a divine energy in koyach hatzemeach. So he says a person has to understand the same is true spiritually. Same idea. Remember, we're paralleling the physical earth to the spiritual earth. That all the Chaim, just like without the physical earth, nobody could live. Without the spiritual earth, we're given, as he said in the beginning of the Mimer, Chaim and Monsey and Neshamas Yisrael, to love Hashem, to do all of His mitzvahs, which gives us real life, Chaim Amitim, real, authentic life, the authenticity of life, let's put it that way.
Is that the or that's the outcome of the
That is the Oir. That's Oir Zarua, which produces the Avos Hashem, the Chukah to Hashem, the Dveikus in Hashem, which have the nutrient. Experience. The nutrients, the spiritual nutrients. When I eat grain, or I eat a vegetable, or I eat a fruit, or you're juicing, yeah? What are you gaining from the Jews? Very good. And the truth is, the closer you get to the nutrients of the physical, you get also closer to the spirituality of it, to the energy of it, right? The more you stay away from the nutrients, you stay in the klippos, the less chiyus you get from it. We all know that in foods there's different parts. There's the parts that are just there to tempt you and test you, and have you deal with your weight and your issues, and then there's the parts that actually give you the life.
It says here it's a gift. The
Yeah.
Sounds like you cannot develop.
No, so he said before, we plow, we plant, but it's the koyach hatzemeach that does it, not my planting, not my plowing. I could make a keli for it. I could make a keli, that I can do. But the rain, I'm not in control of. And the earth, I'm not in control of. And sunlight, I'm not in control of. And the whole process that are the gifts that God gave, the physical earth with all of the components of it, to be able now to take my Christian's is only like it's called this Arusa de Latata, Halos Man. It's just constructing the preparation.
It sounds like a farmer who does everything right, and the weather doesn't cooperate, whatever, and nothing.
And even if the weather does cooperate, it's not him doing it right. It's that he's doing it right in this environment. He has to work with what is.
It says that Avayira is a gift. You can improve on it on your own, or you can't.
So you'll see. He's going to explain what he means. Yeah. So it's matas alakim shenoisen koyach hatzemeich be'eretz elyon latzmiach avos Hashem b'yirasei al panav. Hashem gives the koyach to the eretz elyon to produce, to grow this ava, this yira, which are the nutrients that provide real life, authentic life. Ve'einam nimshachim mekoyach adam oived batzma. It does not come from the power of the person himself, the person who's oived. Valkein kol ikir avoidasei. It's like nobody's going to look at the peach or the plum or the orange and say, look what I created. No. You didn't disturb. And you did a couple of right things. But this is the miracle of nature. Al kein kol ikir avoidasei lo tiye lev es Hashem me'atzmai. Sheyiyah hu ha'oived v'hu ha'oyev. And therefore, the main avodah, the whole avodah of a person should not be with the idea that a person says, I'm going to serve, I'm going to love, I'm going to figure this out. Kiyim k'meshakela, like it says in the previous pasuk, va'avadetem es Hashem elokech, va'avadetem es yudke vavke elokech, u'pirushe lefipshutoi einei muvim. On a literal level, this pasuk is not understood. V'chihu yisbarech la'avodaseinu hu tzarech, u'klum chasech chas v'shalom, v'im tzadaktem atiten lai. We're used to the expression, serve Hashem. Va'avadetem es Hashem elokech. What does it mean? I understand when you hire somebody to serve a purpose, to serve you, you need help. He says, va'avadetem, you should serve as Hashem. It comes like an eved, like a servant who serves you. Why do you need somebody to serve? You need somebody to clean the house. You need somebody to run your company. You need somebody to do certain tasks. You need a secretary, whatever it is. The concept of an eved is, I need help in this world in one way or another. So I ask somebody if they can help me out. I hire them in one way or another. That's the whole concept of avodah. You're working. What does it mean? Va'avadetem es Hashem elokechem. That's what he says. La'avodaseinu hu tzarech. He's missing something. Im tzadai, the pasuk says in Eliot, if you're righteous, what are you giving him? So the literal meaning of the pasuk needs hasbara. Va'avadetem es havaya elokechem. It's the first time it says in a Chumash. Va'avadetem. We're very used to it. Avodas Hashem. Nobody's saying it. You have to pause and ask, what is it? Eloha inyan. The inyan is, you have to read the pasuk very carefully. Va'avadetem es havaya elokech. Havaya pirush haya hoiva v'yiyah. Havaya is he was, he is, and he will be. V'ani Hashem lo yishanisi. The pasuk says in Malachi, the last prophet, I, Hashem, again, Havaya Loishnis, have not changed. V'kula kameika lo chashiv. And everything in his presence doesn't have any separate significance. It's all an aspect of his reality, which is infinite. V'tiya v'daschem kol kach At shebchina zu tiye etzlechem bebchinas elekeichem keilu hu elekim shalachem. So he's saying, va'avadetem es havaya elekeichem is your avoida. Your work should be such that this havaya should become elekeichem as though it's your God. Keilu hu elekim shalachem. Dahainu, what do we mean? Sheyi shoyde v'kavua b'moyach u'machshava u'murgish v'nitfus b'sichle b'emes lamitoy kilu ein of royas gilia l'kusiyas barach mamash. This havaya should be a lekechem, that the absolute infinity of haya haiva v'yiyah should become yours. It should be real by you. You should be able to live with it. It should become something that dwells in a person's mind, in a person's thought, in a person's hargish, in a conspicuous way. It should be grasped in your mind. It should become your individual God, your individual perception of reality. Havaya is absolute. It's haya, haiva, v'yi, ani Hashem, lo shanisi, kula kamei kaloi chashav. But where does it relate to me? Va'avadetem, your avodah should be that havaya should become elekeichem. Kilu ein of royas gili elakusis b'mamash. It should be real. This should be your definition of reality. Your definition of reality should be havaya. Haya haiva v'yi, ani Hashem lo shanisi. Al derech zeh say the kol hashvachim. This is, when we praise Hashem at the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei, this is what we're saying. Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. What does it mean he's the God of Avram? Isn't that insulting? You're going to say he's the God of Avram also, but he's everything. What means the God of Avram, the God of Yitzchak? Lahavdil, the person will say, you know who God is? He's the God of this tissue box. He's the God of this cup of coffee. It's true. So we don't think Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak. So what do you say right after that? Hakel hagadol hagibev hanayra. The Gemara says at the end of Masechta Megillah, wherever you find his greatness, you find his humility. His greatness and his humility come together. What's pshat? So literally it means, wherever you find his greatness, there'll also be a pasuk describing his humility. The Baal Tanya teaches something else. Ki be'emes kula kamei kaloi chashiv, v'yislapshuse b'bchinas gdula kevayachal anavehi. Because really, when it's talking about the Ein Sof, everything is kaloi chashiv. It doesn't have a separate chashivus. It's like subsumed in the infinite reality. For him to be a gadol, it's anava. In other words, for God to define himself as a gadol, as the source of creation, that's humility. So Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov means that Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov, Havaya became Elokeichem. It becomes yours. It becomes mine. In other words, it's something that becomes part of my perception, my reality, the reality that I see. Ki'ilu ein of royas, as though a person sees it. That's how real it becomes. It doesn't just remain real in the realm of infinity. Avadetem, that havaya should become Elokeichem. V'hu be'emes ikir ha'avoda. And this is the main avoda. Umikan ikir ha'aschala milmayla lamata. And from here is the beginning, the main beginning of avoda, milmayla, from higher lamata, coming down to the lower human condition. V'zeh be'emes avoda g'doila, sheyuchal moyach hagashmi lekabel v'litzvus b'gilia l'kusiyas barach. This is va'avadetem. It's a tremendous avoda that the physical brain, which is responsible for all consciousness of a person, should be able to absorb and grasp episagili of elikus. How could it? If it's pure infinity, it should transcend any perception. That's b'makom shatamoitze gedulasei atamoitze anvasnusei. For Hashem Taka to be a Kel HaGadol, Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, it's the ability, it's the humility to compress itself, that pure infinity should be able to still be experienced by the finite brain, by the finite human being. We usually see physicality, because physicality is measured, it's tailor-made, it's accustomed, it's filtered to my brain. But the core of that is Ein Sof. This is the avodah, that havaya should become a lekeichem, and he says it's an avodah gdoila, that the physical reality of a person should be able to take God seriously. That elikus should be real. It should be gili elikus. It should be reality. By us, reality is physicality, nothing else. This is the real avodah, that elikus should be real. You can have a conversation about that dimension of reality, like you have a conversation about the cup of coffee in front of you. Like he says, like your eyes see it, but your eyes don't see it. It's counterintuitive. The divine is counterintuitive because everything is concealed. That's the whole avodah. That avadatem. What's your avodah? That avaya should be a lekechem. I could call it mine. I call my jacket mine. I can call my phone mine. I can call my house mine, or the bank's. Yours. When we God is yours, well, you own him. You own him. That's yes, I own him. What do we mean I own him? That my eye relates to it as something real, that it's mine. It's connected to me. It's mine. It's in my life. It's in my reality. Here it can be born an emotion of love and an emotion of awe. This is called birth. Love and awe is the euphemism for that. The metaphor is that is a son and a daughter. Ava ubchinas ben kamashakos of zachar chazda. Ava is associated with a boy, a ben, a son. Pasuk says zachar chazda, which is also zachar. Zachar is he remembers, but the same words like zachar, which is masculine. Hayiri b'chinas bas, yira or is connected to the daughter. V'zel bas tchila simen yafal abana. The Gemara says you have a daughter first. It's a good siman that you'll have sons. Why? When you have, he says, before love, you need yira, you need respect for boundaries. Or there's no love without yira. So bas tchila, when you have a daughter first, siman yafal abana. It's a good siman for bana. It's a good siman for bana because yira is ashar Hashem. Yira is the concept of respect, of awe. Ava must come after yira because an ava that's not based on a respect, on boundaries, on the awe, so that ava is very often very selfish. So he says, Bas tchila siman yafal abana. Mashenkin k'she'ein avaydasi al derech. When a person's avodah is not like this, ubchinezu in this way, rak sheroitza lecha is b'midis ava v'yira liyas oihe v'yare. He wants to hold on to the midas of ava and yira, to love and fear. What do you mean sheroitza lecha? He wants to own it. He loy titzlach biyada. It will not. Sharp words, what Moshe told the Ma'apilim. He loy sitzlach. It will not succeed in his hand. Ula oilam loy yoylet shum ava v'yira amitim kiyim dem yoynes shaf. He will never give birth to real children, to real love and real, or only delusions. There'll be demyonis. Demyonis is delusions, dreams, in vain. Shu davar she'ein loy kiyim ela lefisha. What's pshat a dimyon? It doesn't last. It's temporary. Meshakela. Spiritually, this is called Meshakela. What's Meshakela? Yeledes v'keveres. It's a stillborn child, or a child Rachman al-Itzlan who passes away, meaning there's no kiyum. She gives birth, but keveres. What is the spiritually? Spiritually, it means there's ava and yira, but they don't last. I have love. And a week later it's gone, a year later it's gone. I have awe and it's all gone. Then there's akara. There's no fertility. There's no birth. So the pasuk says there won't be a bereaved woman who buries a child, chas v'shalom, or an infertile woman, in your land. So literally it means in your land it won't be. Al pi pnimius, al pi remazim, homiletically he teaches very differently. Ki sibas heyois pchinas elu meshakela v'akara hu machmas kihem ba'artsecha ve'enam boyim me'eretz al yoyna. The reason there could be a meshakela and akara is because you think it's coming from your land, not from his land. Le'sia meshakela v'akara, you know when there could be a meshakela and akara? Ba'artsecha. Because it's coming from your land, from your earth. You think you're the generator of it. Not from Eretz Elyon, from Artzas Achayim. In other words, what the Balatanya is saying here is something very, you understand what he's saying? Our entire relationship with Hashem comes from Hashem. Our entire relationship with Hashem comes from Hashem. What I can do is I plow, I plant, I open myself up to it, as he will discuss at length. But it comes from Eretz Elyon, that's where it comes from. There's a temptation in a person to say, I own it. It's mine. He says, then there's Meshakela and Akara. Either there's no Ava V'yira at all, or there is, but it's a dimyan. When everyone knows you get on a high, you think you're connected to something, right? Like the story with the cat and the mouse, you know the story, yeah? Now they say it about the Rambam, Rabbi, and they say it about a lot of people. They were discussing if animals could really change, and they trained a cat, and the cat was a waiter, and it was Gevaldik, and he came with a mouse, yeah? And as the cat was carrying the trays of sushi and cheese and wine to the tables, he let out the the mouse, and there went the cat in all those sophistication. We all know that experience, yeah. You have deep ava v'yira, and then you see the mouse, then you see the cheesecake. That's called a dimyan. Why is this? It's bartzecha. I think I own it. I created it, and it's very tempting. I have it. He says, you have nothing. It's a meshakela. It doesn't last. Or it's akaret. B'chlal doesn't come out. Why is this so important? It's so important because essentially, how can I love and awe the infinite that's completely beyond? There's only one way. If God chooses the relationship. How can my brain experience this? He has to choose the relationship. He has to say, I'm ready to compress my infinity in the little finite mortal brain and heart of Y.Y. Jacobson or Isaac Neuwirth or Rabbi Litzman. By definition, you're talking about Havaya, Hoya Hoyvaviyah, Kula Kamei Kaloi Chashiv, Elekei Chem, Elekei Avram, Elekei Yaakov. The moment I think I own it, I have it, I'm going to create it. It's not that. It's some delusion. You heard a song, you got inspired for a couple of minutes. Fighting again. You have your spiritual drugs. Mamish like intoxication. How long does it last for? Till you sober up. So it's a nice feeling. But it's a loisia meshakela v'akara because it's bartzecha. You think it's coming from your Eretz. It doesn't come from you. It comes all from Eretz Elyon. And he says this is a person that has to have on his heart. He has to understand it. He has to have b'munah Shleima. That all experiences, every ava v'yira, all dveikas with Hashem, is a gift that comes from Hashem. I could prepare. I can open up. I can ask. It's a gift. It's a choice. That I am now producing Tzadik, producing this tzmicha. The Gemara says in Megillah, the end of Maseches Megillah, in the place where you find God's greatness, that's where you find His humility. So the Balatanya teaches, for God to be great, He must be humble. What does it mean God is great? The Gemara says, Gdula zu ma'aseh bereishis, brachas nanches. What's God's greatness? The creation. What we call greatness is for Him the greatest humility. For God to become the DNA of the universe is the most humbling or humiliating thing in the world. Because it's taking undefined infinity and becoming the engine of the universe. Now for us, that's pretty big. Not bad. The Creator did a good job. He's pretty good. Right? But what we call Gedula is for Him Anava. So for Hashem to become a Lekei Avram, a Lekei Yitzchak, a Lekei Yaakov, yeah? To become a Lekei Aaron. You ever say a Lekei Aaron? The God of Reb Aaron, yeah? That's Anova. Now for you, it's my God. Herman Wouk has the book, right? This is my God. Huh? This is my God. It's mine. It's not yours, it's mine.
It sounds like a very pessimistic essay.
As long as you have to say.
Not pessimistic at all.
But you can't do anything. Either you merit it or not. Something is missing here.
Okay, we'll continue. Not pessimistic at all. It's a tremendous thing. It means that when God says, Avodas Hashem, He says, I'm in. The question is if you're in. He decided it already. You don't have to decide it. You just have to show up. That's an amazing thing. You have to show up.
Just like President Obama, he was present. Never said yes or no.
It's there for the taking, so to speak.
He's giving it to you. He wants to give it. We'll continue tomorrow. Be'ezer Hashem, everybody have a wonderful day. We're going to continue with the Gemara now. The Gan of on? What did you say?
I'm thinking, it says you should make Hashem your God. Gana who prays to be successful. Is it his God?
One of the most beautiful verta of the Kotzker Rebbe. He said, Lo yiyeh lecha, yesterday's Parsha, Lo yiyeh lecha lekim achedim. Right? What's right? Lo yiyeh lecha lekim achedim. You shouldn't have other gods, right? You know what he said? Lo yiyeh lecha lekim achedim. Elikim should not be an acher by you. He shouldn't be a stranger. He should be a close friend. Lo yiyeh lecha lekim achedim. Achedim is, some other guy. Elikim shouldn't be an acher. He shouldn't be a stranger. The Herst. Elikim shouldn't be a stranger. Elikeichem, it should be your own. It's yours, it's mine. Like you.
Hashem says that you have to Hashem, you should love Hashem, you should keep. No, I don't love. What do you mean you should love? Love is an emotion. How can I love? I don't love. But you just said, you just plan. Love is going to come by itself. Hashem's going to give you the love.
All the love he gives. He'll give you the love. He'll give you the all. He'll give you everything.
Stay tuned.
Intuned.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.